This is WNEP TV 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, Jack Ruland in Skycam 16, meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Tim Carlson Sports. This is Newswatch 16.
Plans to make Steamtown, USA part of the national park system are picking up steam in Washington. Today, a House subcommittee passed a bill that would make the Rail Museum in Scranton a National Historic Site. That would mean Steamtown would be eligible for federal money to help keep it on track as a tourist attraction. Tomorrow, the bill goes to the full Committee on Public Lands. The House, Senate, and the President would still have to okay it. Normally, cutting through the congressional red tape takes a while, but the Steamtown issue is moving quickly. Congress is set to take a recess next week, and lawmakers want to beat that deadline. Newswatch 16's Bob Reynolds has more on today's hearing in this satellite report from Washington.
On the walls of this subcommittee hearing room in Washington are bold pictures of man's accomplishments and our dreams for the future. One after another, people lined up to tell federal officials why it's so important to preserve an important piece of our past in Steamtown.
Now, we live in the age of the jet plane. It is difficult for us to go back 50, 100 years ago to understand exactly how important railroading was to this country.
I wonder who or what is going to be able to tell the story of American railroading to future generations of Americans, both young and old. I'm talking about your constituents who someday may be traveling this country searching for the heritage or the role that railroads played in the development of this great nation.
Even the man who runs the National Park Service says pumping $35 million tax dollars into Steamtown is the way to go.
I think it's important to the people of this country to understand the story of railroading, and that if that is the final cost, it certainly is going to be worth it to do the job and do it correctly.
The proposal is being well received by out-of-state lawmakers who listened about the Steamtown idea.
A period of austerity, yes, it is hard to do, but history is something you must preserve or you don't have it in the future.
You could almost feel the excitement in the air as the out-of-state lawmakers heard about the Steamtown proposal. There's no doubt where they stand. The big question is, will the full House, the Senate, and yes, even the President believe it's worth spending $35 million tax dollars to make Steamtown a national park? Via satellite, Bob Reynolds, Newswatch 16 in Washington.
And when Newswatch 16 continues, we'll have the exclusive result of a Newswatch 16 poll on which candidate you'd choose if the November elections were held today.
Plus, Action 16 will help a consumer with an airline ticket problem. Jerry lands a solution.
Here's Joe Amato, top fuel champion and president of A&A Auto Parts Stores.
Driving my top fuel dragster at speeds up to 270 miles per hour, I lay my life on the line. I need the best name brand parts available, so I rely on A&A Auto Parts Stores for the highest quality parts at the lowest prices.
Prestone 2, the brand that offers aluminum superior protection. You can save $3 on a 2-gallon purchase.
A&A Auto Parts. If I can rely on them, so can you.
Visit the A&A Auto Parts store near you.
When the weather turns your basement into an ugly mess, fight back with basement dewatering. Basement dewatering removes unwanted water permanently during any season of the year. Our trained professionals have developed a powerful system that's placed only at the trouble spot where the wall meets the floor. And it can be installed in a finished or unfinished room, so your basement is guaranteed to stay water-free. Fight back with Sunrise Basement Dewatering. Call today for a free estimate. Call Sunrise Builders at 717-287-3146.
A Super Saver airline ticket turns out to be a super problem for a Carbon County man.
But he's flying high now thanks to Action 16 and Jerry Gartenberg. Jerry's live in his office to tell us about it. Jerry?
Well, Nolan, life has been rough lately for John Ryman of Lansford. He's had a lot taken from him. So it gives me special satisfaction to help him get something back.
It's a feeling that I think that you're my friend.
John Ryman lost his best friend a couple of years back, then lost his leg. He wrote to Action 16 fearing he'd lose the $328 he paid for a discount or Super Saver round-trip flight to Los Angeles. The Carbon County man had to cancel his American Airlines trip after landing in the hospital with circulation problems. He sent the airline his unused ticket along with a letter from his doctor. He was hoping for a quick refund, but 2 months later, no word from American Airlines and no money back.
Well, it meant a hardship for me because I had doctor bills to pay and I had food to buy and stuff like that, which I'm on a limited income. And it made it rough for me, I can tell you.
American Airlines officials told me somehow John Ryman's paperwork found its way to the wrong office. That caused a delay. The airline assured me John's illness entitled him to all his money back on the ticket. Well, about a week later, he found a nice surprise in his mailbox.
Well, I pretty much jumped off the chair, to tell you the truth, because it felt so good to get the money back. Your service, it means a lot to me, not only to me, but a lot of people like me. Understand what I mean? If there's more people, like I said, like you and your channels, and the people that work for you would be more, if people would be more like that, what a better world we'd have to live in.
Well, words like that make my job pretty easy, I can tell you that. Remember, folks, many airlines give full refunds on canceled Super Saver tickets if you can prove you were sick the day of the flight or if there was a death in the family. In other cases, though, you may only get back as little as half of what you paid for your unused ticket. So the bottom line, folks, is to check out all the rules and restrictions before you buy. If you still need help with an airline ticket problem or any kind of consumer problem, you know what to do. Send me a letter. Action 16, Box 16 of Oka, Pennsylvania. The zip is 18641. Karen.
Thanks, Jerry. 5 weeks to go until Election Day, and Newswatch 16 is releasing exclusive research that shows the governor's race is too close to call. There is no frontrunner for governor according to our statewide research. That same research shows that in the race for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania, the incumbent Arlen Specter has the lead, but it's a close race. Newswatch 16's news director Paul Stuber has the full results of our research.
Newswatch 16 commissioned Teichner Associates, a nationally known polling firm, to ask 800 registered voters across the state how they'd vote if the election were held today. The interviews were done late last week. The margin for error on such a sample, plus or minus 3.5 percentage points. In this area, we're all interested in the race for governor because 2 Scranton area natives are fighting it out. Bob Casey, the Democrat, has run for governor before, and he's a respected name in Pennsylvania politics. The Republican, William Scranton III, carries the Scranton name, and he's currently lieutenant governor. The question, who's ahead? The answer, it's anybody's race. Statewide, Casey leads Scranton 39% to 36%. But remember, with our margin for error, this is a dead heat. And notice the 24% of the voters who are still undecided. Between now and November 4th, it's the undecideds who will decide. They'll make either Casey or Scranton the next governor. How about northeastern and central Pennsylvania? It's a bit of a different story here. Casey trails Scranton here 31% to 44%, with 1/4 of the voters in this area saying they haven't made up their minds yet. We looked at other areas of the state. As you might expect, the Republican Scranton does well in the heavily Republican suburbs of Philadelphia, but the Democrat Casey leads in the city of Philadelphia itself, in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County, and in the western counties. Still a close one, too close to call. In the race for the U.S. Senate, the Newswatch 16 Teichner poll does show a leader. Statewide is the incumbent, Republican Senator Arlen Specter. His Democratic challenger, Bob Edgar, has 30% of the vote. Specter has 38%, and almost 1/3 of the voters are undecided. What do you think? How would you vote if the election were held today? Our research shows that in northeastern and central Pennsylvania, Edgar isn't doing as well as statewide. He's got 22% of the vote to Specter's 46%, with 31% still undecided. Edgar's best showings are in the city of Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. In the western counties, it's a dead heat. 1/3 for Edgar, 1/3 for Specter, 1/3 undecided. This is the first Newswatch 16 Teichner poll of the political season. We'll have more in the weeks ahead as we track these 2 important close races. I'm Paul Stuber, Newswatch 16.
And the Weather Watch is next with Chief Meteorologist Tom Clark.
Just as you predicted, a nice warm day.
Oh, it was. The warmest day of the month today. But when we come back, I'm going to be talking about some rain that's heading our way. You're watching Newswatch 16 on WNEP TV, and we're proud to serve Chick-Shinny and all of Luzerne County.
Every year in Pennsylvania, it comes with the October wind. But this sorcery that turns forests into cold and fields into festivals leaves as quickly as it comes. It's here in Pennsylvania now. Come, catch the fall before it leaves.
Save on quality hardware and tools during the Pro Fall Sale. Over 200 super values, like Liquid Nails Construction Adhesive, Bond's most common building materials, Pro priced at just 99 cents. Lufkin's 33-foot tape measure with the exclusive teardrop case for comfort is Pro priced at $12.99. And from Schlage, easy to install entry locks, Pro priced at $12.99 with a $3 rebate for one, $5 for two. Sale ends October 18th at these and other participating Pro Lumber, Home Center, and hardware stores.
We're only a few weeks into this season's Newswatch 16 news game, and already we have a two-time winner. Let's go back to Carbondale to Sacred Heart High School. These 10th graders are members of Bob Smith's 7th period World Cultures 2 class. The sophomores had the highest average score in last week's Newswatch 16 news game. Dan Fiorucci was there today to congratulate them. Our news game is a weekly quiz of news and current events. Good job, Sacred Heart. Runners-up last week, Wyoming area.
Early in the season, nice that they could be winning. And speaking of the season, nice to see the sun today to find out what all those colorful trees look like, Tom.
Yeah, Nolan, and not to mention some wind that blew some of those leaves all over my front yard this morning. Well, folks, with our backyard thermometer hovering in the low 80s, it's tough to think about snow. But within the next couple of weeks, we'll be giving you details on the 3rd annual Weather Watch 16 Snowblower Contest. So stay tuned. Now, it was nice to see the sun today for a change, and there is an eclipse of the sun that will occur this Friday afternoon. It begins at about 2 p.m. when the new moon will begin to cover the sun, and at the peak of the eclipse, 70% of the sun will be covered by the moon. And that'll be something to see, weather permitting, but remember, you don't look directly at the sun. A safe and easy way to view an eclipse is to use a small mirror like this to reflect and project the sun's image onto a shaded wall. And that'll work nicely for you. Temperatures now across northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Beginning down there in Schuylkill County, the village of Bowman's, Nicholas Fort, checks in with a 76-degree reading down there. Some sunshine breaking through. Steve Ferreira in Lock Haven says it's a little too warm and hazy out there, 83 degrees. And in Great Bend, Ruth Harden checks in with 88 with some sunshine up there. A very warm day across the area. The temperature in our backyard now is 82 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Kind of a muggy evening with the humidity up there, 61%. The wind southwest at 12, and the barometer now at 29.94, and it's falling. 84 the high today, right on the money, not too far from the record high of 87 degrees. 64 the low last night. September rainfall here in the backyard totaled 3.2 inches of rain, and that is about normal. A view today from Skycam 16 over the Susquehanna River, just below Nanticoke in Luzerne County. Some of those fall colors there, Nolan. The peak coming within the next couple of weeks. Radar view coming up. A severe thunderstorm watch now in effect for northwestern Pennsylvania. You can see the line of severe thunderstorms. The areas that are flashing indicate the very intense rainfall. A tornado was reported on the ground this afternoon just south of Erie. These storms tracking up towards the east-northeast, just like last night, at about 40 miles per hour. The satellite view shows that we do have a frontal system just to the north. You can see the thunderstorms here. 80s out ahead of it, 60s behind it. This line will come down over Pennsylvania tomorrow and then stall. And that will keep the clouds around at least for the next couple of days. For tonight, thunderstorms scattered north of that dashed line. Some of them could be quite heavy. 66 below New Milford. Chickashinny about 69. South of that line, it should be a rain-free night tonight, but very warm. 70 in Pottsville, Jersey Shore 68. Here's the sunrise time for tomorrow morning, and that will be at 7. At the top of the hour, 6:46, sunset tomorrow. Hazy overnight tonight, some scattered thunderstorms north. Showers and scattered thunderstorms most of tomorrow. Some of the rain could be heavy. And then on Thursday, cloudy skies, a chance of more rain. And then for the eclipse on Friday, mostly cloudy as we see it now. So we'll look at some of those thunderstorms tonight on the update once again.
Okay, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Rankings and polls are in the Sports Watch tonight. Tim Carlson will tell us who is where in college football and soccer.
Plus, more changes in our high school football Super 16.
Giant Floors Home Decorating Days going on now. The sale of the year on everything for your home.
Leveloor 1-inch custom-made blinds, the finest blinds in America today. Now on sale at 50% off. Choose from many colors to complement any decor. Leveloor custom blinds. expert installation is available.
Store-wide savings plus free decorating, great selections, and 6 months to pay with no interest. Now during home decorating days at Giant Floor and Wall Covering Company.
The Sports Watch has a kind of theme to it today, right?
Very good, Karen. That's exactly what we're going to have today, and maybe we should call this Poll Watch 16. A lot of rankings to throw at you, starting off with the story for week number 6 of the high school football Super 16. The postponement of games involving teams in the rankings causing us to wait until today to bring you the new rankings, and here they are. Number 16, the Penarchal Green Knights, a new entry, undefeated in 5 games. At 15, the Coughlin Crusaders, last week's number 13 club, lost to number 1 Williamsport Saturday, 14-9. At number 14, the Montoursville Warriors, winners of their first 5 games, a new team this week. At number 13 is the Freeland Whippets, also a new team in town with 5 wins in a row. They won big Friday night. At number 12, East Stroudsburg, the Cavaliers, also new to the neighborhood, but not to winning this year. They're 5-0. At number 11, the Catasauqua Rough Riders, up from 15 last week after a big 47-0 win over Wilson. At number 10, the Whitehall Zephyrs, last week's number 12 team. At number 9, the Selinsgrove Seals, up from number 11 after a big win over Mifflinburg. At number 8, the Mount Carmel Red Tornadoes, one of the biggest surprises of the season. And last night in Berwick, the Red Tornadoes played incredible defense to win convincingly over the Bulldogs, 22-0. Berwick stopped twice inside the 10-yard line by the Mount Carmel defense. The Red Tornadoes now 5-0 in the Eastern Conference Southern Division, Class A. At number 7, back to the poll, Towanda Black Knights stayed in the same spot despite a big win Friday night. At number 6, the Valley View Cougars also staying put. They shut out Scranton Central. They're now not 5-0. At number 5, the Stroudsburg Mountaineers, last week's number 5 team, won big over Nazareth. At 4, GAR, the Grenadiers, the same story. Still at number 4 from last week. They beat Nanacoke in a shutout. At number 3, Marion Catholic, the Colts, still at the same spot, undefeated in 5 games. At number 2, the Milton Black Panthers, staying in the runner-up spot. They're also at 5-0. And number 1, the Williamsport Millionaires, and they're there for the 4th straight week. The Millionaires remain the top team. They are perfect in 5 games, but were tested Saturday night by last week's 13th ranked team, Coughlin. Williamsport hung on to win 14-9, and they stay in the number 1 spot. The college football top 10 rankings out this morning, and I'm happy to say that Penn State was also able to make a move up since last week's number 1 team was knocked off. Let's take a look. College top 10. Miami of Florida, not surprising here since they beat number 1 Oklahoma last Saturday. They've received 56 of 58 first-place votes. At number 2, Alabama, up from number 3 last week. They also received a first-place vote. At number 3, Nebraska. Number 4, last week, they're unbeaten in 3 games. At number 4 is Michigan, moving up from 5th. They're also 3-0. At number 5, Penn State, they made a nice climb up from 7th last week, and why not? They hammered East Carolina at Beaver Stadium Saturday afternoon, 42-17 for their 3rd straight win. The Lions dominated the entire game to stroll to a victory. By the way, they received 1 first-place vote in the poll this week. Back to the poll now. Number 6, Oklahoma. Last week's number 1 taking the tumble after they lost to last week's number 2 team, Miami. At number 7, Auburn, up from 8th last week. At number 8, Arkansas, up from 9th last week. At number 9, Southern Cal, they make a big move up from 12 after a win over Washington. And at number 10, Arizona, staying at the 10th position. And there's another set of college rankings to show you today, rankings we should all be pretty excited to see because it shows one of our local colleges as the best team in the country. The NCAA Division III men's soccer rankings. University of Scranton, that's right, the Royal soccer team is right at the top. More on that in a second. At number 2, Ohio Wesleyan. At number 3, last week's number 1 team, USC Greensboro. At number 4, Salem State. Number 5, Fredonia. And why should the University of Scranton be tops among these college soccer powers? Get a load of some of these stats. The Royals game against Wilkes, there you see it a couple of weeks ago. They won that one by a shutout, and they've won 8 of 10 this year by shutout. They're undefeated in 10 games, giving up just 2 goals. Scranton moved up to the number 1 spot after last week's number 1 team, UNC Greensboro, lost last Friday night. Congratulations to the number 1 Royals, and stay there, guys. And one more poll or survey if you wish to talk about. Only this one involved you. Last night on the Sports Watch, we asked you, do you think game officials should use TV replays to help make decisions? And the results of the survey were pretty clear. 73% yes, and no, 27%. So we can see the replays are going to stay with us for a while as far as we're concerned. See you tonight.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay.
Next, he sent the letter while heading to World War II, but it never reached his girlfriend.
And today, after 44 years, the post office returned the missing missive. And we'll have all that story next as Newswatch 16 continues.
This is the grand opening week of the brand new Hills in West Hazleton, going on now in the Valmont Plaza. Hills is different.
Check us out. Look for the SureSave stamp of approval, and you'll find great weekly specials like these.
Seal Test Cottage Cheese, 24-ounce carton, $1.39. Greens Ice Cream, half gallon, $1.99. Fresh lean ground beef, 99 cents a pound. And full-cut sirloin steak with tenderloin, $1.99 a pound.
When you want the very best, look for SureSave.
Look for the SureSave stamp of approval at a locally owned supermarket near you.
Finally, imagine your surprise if the post office returns a letter to you that you had written 44 years ago. It happened to a Schuylkill County man, and Newswatch 16's Bob Costantini was with him at the Schuylkill Haven Post Office.
The local postmaster hand-delivered it to Paul Olexo. Sergeant Olexo of the Army Air Force wrote this letter to a girlfriend in Nebraska in 1942 while he was on a ship bound for Africa and the battles of World War II. The letter never reached her, but Olexo eventually married and divorced Florence Springer, whom he met while stationed at Kearney Air Base.
Dear Flo, I guess you think that I forgot about you, but I am writing this while I'm out at the sea, and I had no time to write after I left there. I'm okay, and I hope you are the same. How is your mother and the kids?
If the letter seems rather bland, that's because soldiers' letters were read over and approved by a censor before being sealed.
Dropped it on to shoot one in a mailbag or something on the bottom, you know.
And then you never saw it again? You never had any idea what happened to it?
Right, right.
The letter and 200 others were supposed to be taken to a post office by a GI who returned on the ship from Africa. But the words were lost until recently in a North Carolina attic underneath clothes inside a duffel bag.
The decision was made because it was so old, and on the circumstance, we would rather deliver it back to the person that that wrote it.
Paul Olexo's serial number was on the letter, and he was traced to Schuylkill County.
Paul Olexo will be back here within a few days. He says he intends to send the letter to his ex-wife in Kearney, Nebraska. The postal officials say they'll send it free via express mail. Bob Costantini, Newswatch 16, Schuylkill Haven.
For the team.
Enjoy your evening.